When discussing Robinson Crusoe by Daniel Defoe in a broad sense, here are some of the most important questions that can be explored. 1. Themes and motifs. What are the central themes of Robinson Crusoe? How does Defoe explore the theme of survival and self-sufficiency in the novel? In what ways does the novel address the theme of colonialism and imperialism? How does the motif of isolation impact Crusoe's character development? How does the theme of religion and divine providence play out in Crusoe's journey? 2. Character analysis. How does Robinson Crusoe evolve as a character throughout the novel? What is the significance of Friday in the novel, and how does his relationship with Crusoe develop? How do the secondary characters contribute to the narrative, and what do they represent? 3. Narrative structure and style. What narrative techniques does Defoe use in Robinson Crusoe, and how do they contribute to the novel's realism? How does the first-person narrative perspective shape the reader's understanding of Crusoe's experiences? How does Defoe use detailed descriptions to enhance the novel's themes and setting? 4. Historical and social context. How does Robinson Crusoe reflect the social, economic, and political context of early 18th century England? What does the novel suggest about the British colonial mindset during Defoe's time? How does the novel portray the concept of the noble savage through the character of Friday? 5. Philosophical and moral questions. How does Robinson Crusoe explore the concept of individualism and the human condition? What moral and ethical dilemmas does Crusoe face, and how does he resolve them? How does the novel address the concept of civilization versus nature? 6. Literary impact and legacy. What is the significance of Robinson Crusoe in the development of the novel as a literary form? How has Robinson Crusoe influenced later literary works and adaptations? In what ways has the novel been interpreted differently by various critics and scholars over time? 7. Critical interpretations. How have different critical approaches, e.g., Marxist, post-colonial, feminist, interpreted Robinson Crusoe? What is the significance of the novel's portrayal of economic practices, such as trade and resource management? How does Robinson Crusoe engage with the concept of the self-made man and capitalism? 8. Symbolism and allegory. What symbolic meanings can be derived from Crusoe's island and his experiences there? How can Crusoe's journey be read as an allegory for human life or spiritual redemption? 9. Religion and spirituality. How does Crusoe's spiritual journey reflect broader religious themes? In what ways does Defoe incorporate biblical references and Christian doctrine into the narrative? 10. Adaptations and cultural impact. How has Robinson Crusoe been adapted into different media, films, television, etc., and how do these adaptations differ from the original text? What is the cultural impact of Robinson Crusoe, particularly in terms of how it has shaped perceptions of adventure, exploration, and the Robinsonade genre? Here are the important questions related to Robinson Crusoe along with concise answers. 1. What are the central themes of Robinson Crusoe? Answer. The central themes include survival and self-sufficiency, colonialism and imperialism, religion and divine providence, and the exploration of civilization versus nature. 2. How does Defoe explore the theme of survival and self-sufficiency in the novel? Answer. Defoe portrays Crusoe's resourcefulness and ingenuity in building a life on the deserted island, reflecting the Enlightenment ideals of individualism and human capability. 3. In what ways does the novel address the theme of colonialism and imperialism? Answer. The novel reflects colonial attitudes through Crusoe's domination of the island, his treatment of Friday as a subordinate, and his belief in European superiority. 4. How does the motif of isolation impact Crusoe's character development? Answer. Isolation forces Crusoe to confront his fears, rely on his own abilities, and develop a deeper spiritual understanding, transforming him from a reckless adventurer to a self-reliant individual. 5. How does the theme of religion and divine providence play out in Crusoe's journey? Answer. Crusoe frequently attributes his survival and success to divine providence, experiencing a religious conversion that leads him to view his time on the island as part of God's plan for his salvation. 6. How does Robinson Crusoe evolve as a character throughout the novel? Answer. Crusoe evolves from a young, impulsive adventurer into a mature, reflective individual who values self-discipline, hard work, and faith in God. 7. What is the significance of Friday in the novel, and how does his relationship with Crusoe develop? Answer. Friday represents the noble savage and the potential for cultural assimilation. His relationship with Crusoe evolves from master-servant to a more complex bond of mutual dependence, though it remains unequal. 8. What narrative techniques does Defoe use in Robinson Crusoe, and how do they contribute to the novel's realism? Answer. Defoe uses detailed first-person narrative, journal entries, and an emphasis on practical detail to create a sense of realism, making Crusoe's experiences believable and relatable. 9. How does Robinson Crusoe reflect the social, economic, and political context of early 18th century England? Answer. The novel reflects the growing importance of trade, the Protestant work ethic, and colonial expansion during the early 18th century, mirroring the values of emerging capitalist society. 10. What does the novel suggest about the British colonial mindset during Defoe's time? Answer. The novel suggests a belief in British superiority, the civilizing mission of Europeans, and the right to dominate and exploit non-European lands and peoples. 11. How does Robinson Crusoe explore the concept of individualism and the human condition? Answer. Crusoe's story is a celebration of individualism, emphasizing self-reliance, personal responsibility, and the ability to overcome adversity through rational thought and effort. 12. What moral and ethical dilemmas does Crusoe face, and how does he resolve them? Answer. Crusoe grapples with the ethics of colonization, his treatment of Friday, and his use of violence for survival. He resolves these dilemmas by rationalizing his actions through a combination of pragmatism and religious justification. 13. What is the significance of Robinson Crusoe in the development of the novel as a literary form? Answer. Robinson Crusoe is often considered one of the first modern novels, contributing to the development of realistic fiction and the novel as a genre, with its focus on individual experience and detailed narrative. 14. How has Robinson Crusoe influenced later literary works and adaptations? Answer. The novel has inspired a genre known as the Robinsonade, which includes stories of survival in isolation. Its themes and structure have influenced countless works of fiction and various adaptations in literature, film, and television. 15. How have different critical approaches interpreted Robinson Crusoe? Answer. Marxist critics view the novel as a reflection of capitalist ideology, post-colonial critics examine its imperialistic undertones, and feminist critics may focus on the absence of women and the portrayal of masculinity. 16. What symbolic meanings can be derived from Crusoe's island and his experiences there? Answer. The island can symbolize both a blank slate for self-creation and a microcosm of society. Crusoe's experiences can be seen as an allegory for human life, spiritual rebirth, or the taming of nature. 17. How does Crusoe's spiritual journey reflect broader religious themes? Answer. Crusoe's spiritual journey reflects themes of repentance, redemption, and divine providence, aligning with Protestant ideals of the time. 18. How has Robinson Crusoe been adapted into different media, and how do these adaptations differ from the original text? Answer. The novel has been adapted into films, television shows, and even children's literature, often emphasizing different aspects of the story such as adventure, survival, or the relationship with Friday. These adaptations might alter the original themes to suit contemporary audiences. 19. What is the cultural impact of Robinson Crusoe, particularly in shaping the Robinsonade genre? Answer. The cultural impact of Robinson Crusoe is significant, as it established the Robinsonade genre, characterized by stories of shipwreck, survival, and self-discovery. It has also influenced popular perceptions of exploration and adventure. These questions and answers provide a comprehensive understanding of Robinson Crusoe, covering its themes, characters, historical context, and critical interpretations. How does Defoe use the motif of taming the wilderness to explore themes of human control and nature? Answer. Defoe uses the motif of taming the wilderness to illustrate the theme of human control over nature. Crusoe's efforts to transform the island from an untamed, hostile environment into a productive, habitable space mirror Enlightenment ideas of rationality and mastery. This motif highlights the human desire to impose order on nature and control one's environment, reflecting broader themes of colonization and the belief in human progress through civilization. The meticulous detailing of Crusoe's agricultural and construction projects underscores his struggle to dominate and shape nature according to his needs and ambitions. 2. In what ways does the novel's portrayal of time contribute to its themes of isolation and personal transformation? Answer. the novel's portrayal of time is integral to its themes of isolation and personal transformation. Defoe emphasizes the passage of time through Crusoe's daily routines, which structure his life and underscore the monotony of his isolation. The detailed account of Crusoe's activities, from managing his crops to building his shelter, creates a sense of the passage of time as both a burden and a mechanism for personal growth. This structured approach to time helps illustrate Crusoe's evolving sense of self and his adaptation to solitude, reflecting his psychological journey from despair to self-reliance and spiritual enlightenment. 3. How does Crusoe's relationship with the island reflect his internal psychological state throughout the novel? Answer. Crusoe's relationship with the island mirrors his internal psychological state and evolution. Initially, the island is perceived as a barren, hostile space, representing his fear and helplessness. As Crusoe adapts and begins to shape his environment, the island transforms into a place of refuge and self-discovery. The gradual development of his space, from initial struggle to a well-ordered habitat, reflects his psychological journey from despair to contentment. The island becomes a reflection of his internal stability and personal growth, symbolizing his capacity to overcome adversity and achieve self-mastery. 4. What role does the element of disaster play in advancing the plot and developing character in Robinson Crusoe? Answer. The element of disaster plays a critical role in advancing the plot and developing Crusoe's character. The shipwreck is the novel's central catastrophe, setting the stage for Crusoe's isolation and subsequent struggle for survival. This disaster initiates the plot's main conflict and challenges Crusoe to confront his vulnerabilities. Each subsequent disaster, such as the encounter with the pirates or the threat of illness, serves to further test Crusoe's resilience and resourcefulness. These trials force Crusoe to evolve from a naive adventurer into a mature, self-reliant individual, highlighting his growth through adversity and his capacity for adaptation and innovation. 5. How does Defoe's use of detailed descriptions contribute to the novel's sense of realism and thematic depth? Answer. Defoe's use of detailed descriptions enhances the novel's sense of realism and thematic depth by providing a vivid, tangible portrayal of Crusoe's experiences. The meticulous accounts of Crusoe's daily activities, including his construction projects, agricultural practices, and interactions with the environment, create a realistic depiction of life on the island. This realism allows readers to fully engage with Crusoe's struggle and triumphs, while also deepening the thematic exploration of survival, self-sufficiency, and human ingenuity. The focus on practical details underscores the novel's themes of human perseverance and the transformation of nature through individual effort. 6. In what ways does Robinson Crusoe challenge or reinforce contemporary views on colonialism through its portrayal of Friday and his integration into Crusoe's world? Answer. Robinson Crusoe both challenges and reinforces contemporary views on colonialism through its portrayal of Friday. On one hand, the novel reinforces colonial attitudes by depicting Friday as a savage who needs to be civilized and converted to Christianity. Crusoe's role as a benevolent master reflects the colonial mindset of European superiority and the civilizing mission. On the other hand, Friday's character challenges these views by demonstrating intelligence, loyalty, and a capacity for cultural exchange. Their relationship evolves from one of dominance to mutual respect, suggesting a more complex view of colonial interactions. However, this complexity is tempered by the continued power imbalance and Crusoe's ultimate authority over Friday. 7. How does the novel's narrative structure, with its focus on Crusoe's journal entries, affect the reader's perception of Crusoe's character and experiences? Answer. The novel's narrative structure, centered around Crusoe's journal entries, provides an intimate and personal glimpse into Crusoe's thoughts and experiences. This first-person account creates a sense of immediacy and authenticity, allowing readers to experience Crusoe's isolation and personal growth firsthand. The journal format emphasizes Crusoe's self-reflection and detailed observations, offering insight into his psychological state and evolving worldview. This structure helps readers connect more deeply with Crusoe's character, understanding his struggles, triumphs, and moral dilemmas in a more nuanced and direct manner. 8. What symbolic meanings can be derived from Crusoe's Man Friday and his role in the narrative? Answer. Man Friday, or Friday, symbolizes several concepts within the narrative. Symbolically, he represents the noble savage, a stereotype of the indigenous person who is both primitive and inherently good. His role in the narrative highlights themes of cultural exchange and the complex dynamics of colonial relationships. Friday's presence also symbolizes Crusoe's desire for companionship and validation of his own sense of superiority. Additionally, Friday's eventual integration into Crusoe's world reflects themes of civilization and the impact of European values on indigenous cultures, while also serving as a reflection of Crusoe's own growth and acceptance of new ideas. 9. How does Defoe's depiction of materialism in Crusoe's endeavors reflect the socio-economic values of 18th-century England? Answer. Defoe's depiction of materialism in Crusoe's endeavors mirrors the socio-economic values of 18th-century England, particularly the rise of capitalism and the Protestant work ethic. Crusoe's focus on acquiring and managing resources, building infrastructure, and achieving economic self-sufficiency reflects the period's emphasis on individual success and material prosperity. His methodical approach to establishing his home and creating wealth from his environment aligns with the capitalist ideals of productivity and economic independence. This materialistic drive is presented as a means of personal advancement and social validation, resonating with the economic values and ambitions of Defoe's contemporary society. 10. How does the representation of Crusoe's psychological and emotional journey enhance the novel's exploration of existential themes? Answer. Crusoe's psychological and emotional journey enhances the novel's exploration of existential themes by delving into his internal struggles and reflections on life's meaning. His isolation forces him to confront his existential fears, including loneliness, mortality, and the search for purpose. Crusoe's evolving sense of self, his spiritual awakening, and his philosophical musings on fate and providence add depth to the novel's exploration of existential questions. His experiences on the island prompt a re-evaluation of his past life, beliefs, and values, leading to a profound understanding of his place in the world and his relationship with a higher power. This introspective journey underscores the novel's existential themes of self-discovery, purpose, and the human condition. How does Defoe use the motif of taming the wilderness to explore themes of human control and nature? Answer. In Robinson Crusoe, the motif of taming the wilderness is central to illustrating the theme of human control over nature. As Crusoe transforms the island from an untamed land into a manageable environment, he embodies the Enlightenment belief in human capability to master and reshape the natural world. This process of taming reflects broader themes of civilization and progress, as Crusoe imposes order and structure on the chaotic wilderness. The novel suggests that through ingenuity and effort, humans can assert control over nature, turning it into a resource that serves their needs and ambitions. 2. In what ways does the novel's portrayal of time contribute to its themes of isolation and personal transformation? Answer. The portrayal of time in Robinson Crusoe is crucial for exploring themes of isolation and personal transformation. Defoe meticulously details Crusoe's daily routines and the passage of time, highlighting the monotony and challenges of his solitary existence. This focus on time emphasizes the psychological impact of isolation, showing how Crusoe's structured daily activities help him cope with loneliness and develop resilience. The repetitive nature of his tasks and the passage of time reflect his gradual transformation from a shipwrecked survivor to a self-reliant, spiritually enlightened individual. 3. How does Crusoe's relationship with the island reflect his internal psychological state throughout the novel? Answer. Crusoe's evolving relationship with the island mirrors his internal psychological state. Initially, the island is a symbol of his fears and helplessness, representing an unfamiliar and hostile environment. As Crusoe adapts and imposes his own order on the island, it becomes a place of refuge and personal growth. This transformation reflects his journey from despair and isolation to self-sufficiency and contentment. The island evolves alongside Crusoe, becoming a manifestation of his inner stability and psychological development. 4. What role does the element of disaster play in advancing the plot and developing character in Robinson Crusoe? Answer. The element of disaster is pivotal in Robinson Crusoe for both advancing the plot and developing Crusoe's character. The novel begins with the shipwreck, which serves as the inciting incident that thrusts Crusoe into his life of isolation. Each subsequent disaster, such as the threats from pirates or natural calamities, introduces new challenges that drive the plot forward and test Crusoe's resourcefulness. These trials are instrumental in Crusoe's character development, pushing him to grow from a reckless adventurer into a disciplined, reflective individual capable of overcoming adversity. 5. How does Defoe's use of detailed descriptions contribute to the novel's sense of realism and thematic depth? Answer. Defoe's detailed descriptions play a significant role in creating a sense of realism and depth in Robinson Crusoe. The novel's meticulous accounts of Crusoe's daily life, from constructing his shelter to managing his crops, provide a vivid, authentic portrayal of his survival efforts. This attention to detail not only grounds the novel in a realistic setting but also deepens the thematic exploration of self-sufficiency, resilience, and human ingenuity. The realism in these descriptions allows readers to fully engage with Crusoe's experiences and understand the practical challenges and triumphs of his isolation. 6. In what ways does Robinson Crusoe challenge or reinforce contemporary views on colonialism through its portrayal of Friday and his integration into Crusoe's world? Answer. Robinson Crusoe both challenges and reinforces contemporary colonial views through its portrayal of Friday. On one hand, the novel reinforces colonial attitudes by depicting Friday as a savage who needs to be civilized and converted. This reflects the imperial mindset of the time, where European cultures were seen as superior and destined to dominate others. On the other hand, Friday's intelligence, loyalty, and capacity for cultural exchange provide a more nuanced portrayal, suggesting the possibility of mutual understanding and respect. However, the power dynamic remains skewed, with Crusoe retaining ultimate authority, which reinforces rather than fully challenges the colonial perspective. 7. How does the novel's narrative structure, with its focus on Crusoe's journal entries, affect the reader's perception of Crusoe's character and experiences? Answer. The novel's narrative structure, centered around Crusoe's journal entries, offers a personal and direct insight into his character and experiences. This first-person perspective allows readers to experience Crusoe's thoughts, emotions, and daily struggles as if they were living through them alongside him. The journal format enhances the sense of immediacy and intimacy, making Crusoe's isolation and personal growth more relatable and vivid. This structure helps readers connect deeply with Crusoe, understanding his internal conflicts and transformations in a more personal and detailed manner. 8. What symbolic meanings can be derived from Crusoe's Man Friday and his role in the narrative? Answer. Man Friday, or Friday, carries several symbolic meanings in the narrative. He represents the concept of the noble savage, embodying both the exoticism and perceived primitiveness of indigenous peoples as viewed by Europeans. Friday's role also symbolizes the potential for cultural exchange and influence, as he learns from Crusoe while also impacting Crusoe's understanding of himself and his world. Additionally, Friday's character highlights themes of civilization and colonialism, reflecting the power dynamics and cultural superiority inherent in the colonial enterprise. His eventual integration into Crusoe's world represents both the possibilities and limitations of cross-cultural relationships. 9. How does Defoe's depiction of materialism in Crusoe's endeavors reflect the socio-economic values of 18th-century England? Answer. Defoe's depiction of materialism in Crusoe's endeavors reflects the socio-economic values of 18th-century England, particularly the rise of capitalism and the Protestant work ethic. Crusoe's focus on accumulating resources, managing production, and achieving economic independence aligns with the period's emphasis on individual success and material wealth. His efforts to build a prosperous and orderly life from scratch mirror the capitalist ideals of productivity and personal achievement. This portrayal reinforces the value placed on hard work and economic self-sufficiency during the Enlightenment era. 10. How does the representation of Crusoe's psychological and emotional journey enhance the novel's exploration of existential themes? Answer. Crusoe's psychological and emotional journey enriches the novel's exploration of existential themes by delving into his internal struggles and quest for meaning. His isolation forces him to confront deep existential questions about loneliness, mortality, and purpose. Through his reflections and spiritual growth, Crusoe grapples with the nature of existence and his place in the world. His experiences on the island lead him to a deeper understanding of himself and his relationship with a higher power, highlighting themes of self-discovery, existential angst, and the search for personal significance in an indifferent universe. How can postcolonial theory be applied to analyze Crusoe's interactions with Friday and the representation of indigenous peoples in Robinson Crusoe? Answer. Postcolonial theory can be applied to Robinson Crusoe by examining the power dynamics and cultural representations embedded in Crusoe's interactions with Friday. From a postcolonial perspective, Crusoe's relationship with Friday reflects the imperialistic attitudes of the time, where Friday is depicted as a savage, in need of European civilization and Christian conversion. This portrayal reinforces colonial hierarchies and the notion of European superiority. Additionally, the way Crusoe controls and educates Friday highlights the paternalistic attitudes inherent in colonialism. Post-colonial critics might explore how the text perpetuates stereotypes and examines the implications of Crusoe's dominance over Friday as a representation of broader colonial practices and cultural imperialism. 2. In what ways can Marxist criticism be used to explore the theme of economic survival and materialism in Robinson Crusoe? Answer. Marxist criticism can be used to analyze Robinson Crusoe by focusing on the themes of economic survival and materialism as they relate to class struggle and economic systems. Crusoe's efforts to transform the island into a productive economic environment reflect capitalist values of private property and self-sufficiency. From a Marxist perspective, Crusoe's accumulation of resources and his control over the island's production can be seen as an exploration of capitalist ideals and individual labor. The novel's portrayal of Crusoe's labor as both a means of survival and a way to assert control highlights the role of material conditions in shaping human identity and social relations. Marxist critics might examine how the text reflects the values of capitalist society and the implications of economic self-reliance for understanding class and labor. 3. How does psychoanalytic theory help to understand Crusoe's psychological development and the symbolic significance of his isolation in Robinson Crusoe? Answer. Psychoanalytic theory offers insights into Crusoe's psychological development and the symbolic significance of his isolation. From a psychoanalytic perspective, Crusoe's isolation can be seen as a manifestation of his inner conflicts and desires. His solitary existence allows him to confront his fears, desires, and existential anxieties. The island becomes a symbolic space for exploring his subconscious, where he deals with feelings of abandonment, guilt, and self-worth. The novel's focus on Crusoe's internal struggles and his eventual psychological growth reflects themes of self-discovery and the search for identity. Psychoanalytic critics might analyze how Crusoe's isolation serves as a catalyst for exploring his psychological complexities and the symbolic dimensions of his journey towards self-understanding. 4. How can feminist theory be applied to critique the gender dynamics and representations of femininity in Robinson Crusoe? Answer. Feminist theory can be applied to critique the gender dynamics and representations of femininity in Robinson Crusoe by examining the absence of female characters and the implications for gender roles. The novel predominantly features male characters, with women being conspicuously absent from Crusoe's island. This absence reinforces traditional gender roles and the perception of male dominance and self-sufficiency. Feminist critics might explore how Crusoe's solitary existence reflects and reinforces patriarchal values, as well as how the novel's focus on male achievement and control overlooks or marginalizes female perspectives and contributions. The portrayal of female characters in Crusoe's past life, such as the representation of women in his pre-island society, can also be analyzed for its reflection of gender norms and stereotypes. 5. How does Defoe's use of realism contribute to the novel's exploration of philosophical and ethical issues, such as the nature of human existence and morality? Answer. Defoe's use of realism in Robinson Crusoe enhances the exploration of philosophical and ethical issues by grounding the novel in detailed, practical experiences. The realistic portrayal of Crusoe's survival efforts, material acquisitions, and daily routines creates a tangible sense of his struggle and development. This realism allows readers to engage with philosophical questions about human existence, such as the nature of self-reliance, the search for meaning, and the ethical implications of Crusoe's actions. The detailed account of Crusoe's moral dilemmas, such as his treatment of Friday and his reflections on providence, highlights the novel's engagement with broader existential and ethical concerns. Realism thus serves as a tool for exploring deeper philosophical themes and moral questions within a believable and relatable context. 6. How can ecological criticism be used to analyze the relationship between Crusoe and the environment in Robinson Crusoe? Answer. Ecological criticism can be used to analyze the relationship between Crusoe and the environment by examining how the novel depicts interactions with nature and environmental transformation. In Robinson Crusoe, Crusoe's efforts to cultivate the land, manage resources, and adapt to the island's ecological conditions reflect a dynamic relationship between human agency and the natural world. Ecological critics might explore how Crusoe's manipulation of the environment illustrates themes of environmental stewardship, exploitation, and the impact of human activity on nature. The novel's portrayal of Crusoe's dependence on and control over the island's resources can be analyzed for insights into early environmental attitudes and the broader implications of human-environment interactions in the context of colonial expansion and ecological change. 7. How does historical context influence the portrayal of technological and scientific advancements in Robinson Crusoe? Answer. Historical context significantly influences the portrayal of technological and scientific advancements in Robinson Crusoe. Set during the Enlightenment, the novel reflects the era's fascination with scientific progress and technological innovation. Crusoe's use of technology, such as his construction of tools and his agricultural practices, mirrors contemporary attitudes towards human ingenuity and the capacity to transform the environment. The detailed descriptions of Crusoe's technological achievements highlight the period's emphasis on practical knowledge and empirical methods. Critics can examine how Defoe's depiction of these advancements reflects the broader Enlightenment values of rationality, experimentation, and the belief in human progress through science and technology. 8. What role does the concept of the self-made man play in the narrative, and how does it reflect the socio-economic values of Defoe's time? Answer. The concept of the self-made man is central to Robinson Crusoe and reflects the socio-economic values of Defoe's time. Crusoe's transformation from a shipwrecked survivor to a prosperous and self-sufficient individual embodies the ideal of personal success through hard work and determination. This narrative reflects Enlightenment values of individualism and economic achievement, celebrating the ability to overcome adversity through personal effort and resourcefulness. The novel promotes the idea that individuals can shape their own destinies and achieve success through perseverance, aligning with the capitalist ethos of self-reliance and upward mobility prevalent in 18th-century England. 9. How does the novel's depiction of European versus non-European cultures engage with theories of cultural superiority and ethnocentrism? Answer. The novel's depiction of European versus non-European cultures engages with theories of cultural superiority and ethnocentrism by presenting a clear hierarchy between Crusoe's European civilization and the indigenous cultures he encounters. Crusoe's views of Friday and the island's original inhabitants reflect ethnocentric attitudes, portraying European culture as advanced and civilized in contrast to the perceived primitiveness of other cultures. This depiction reinforces notions of European superiority and the civilizing mission associated with colonialism. Critics can analyze how the novel reflects and perpetuates these cultural biases, examining the implications for understanding colonial attitudes and the impact of cultural encounters on perceptions of otherness and superiority. 10. How can the narrative structure of Robinson Crusoe, with its focus on first-person perspective and detailed account of events, be critiqued from a narratological standpoint? Answer. From a narratological standpoint, the narrative structure of Robinson Crusoe, with its focus on the first-person perspective and detailed account of events, can be critiqued for its effect on reader engagement and the construction of Crusoe's character. The first-person narrative provides an intimate view of Crusoe's thoughts and experiences, creating a sense of immediacy and personal connection. This perspective shapes the reader's understanding of Crusoe's motivations and development. The detailed accounts of his daily life serve to build a realistic portrayal of his experiences, but they can also be seen as a method of reinforcing the protagonist's viewpoint and justifying his actions. Narratological analysis can explore how this structure influences the reader's perception of the story, the reliability of the narrator, and the thematic focus on individual experience and self-reliance.